I was like, this cannot be happening to me right now. I was like, no. That was the worst, most depressing 3 days I've ever had in my entire life.
Listen, I've been saying, I feel like I've said this in every single interview I've done, but it's just because this cast is so amazing. I can't believe we're having this conversation and that people keep going home. And I really do wish this actually had. I don't know if you've seen All Stars 7 with the point format where no one
Yes,
got eliminated. This season needed that, but that's a separate conversation.
I would
Um,
love that.
you know what I mean? Conversation for another day. But look, the episode aired last night. Where were you when you watched it? How are you feeling today?
So I was actually just in my room because yeah, I did Porn Idol last night. So I did have a viewing party. I was getting ready, and my drag mother was staying with me. So I was just watching it with them, and I was a bit nervous to watch it because obviously it's my elimination. But watching it, I was like really proud of myself, and I was really happy with it. And I'm still feeling good today. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it all went.
As you should be. And again, as I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself here. And anyone that's been watching these online, I don't know if there is anyone that's watched them all, but if there is, I've said to pretty much everyone that no one seems to be going home because they've done a bad job in the challenge. It's just because that's the format of the season, and unfortunately, someone has to leave every week. And we're seeing the judges really have to split hairs. And like we saw this week, people, it's coming down to what the wig looks like. You know what I mean? And so, for you, as someone that's been on the season, what has it been like to be part of one of the editions of the show that's been so well received and loved by the fans and the judges alike?
Honestly, I think being on Drag Race has been like such a huge dream, and I sound like a broken record today, but it really is just so true. But like being a part of this cast, specifically this cast, is like I couldn't have asked for anything better. Like the amount of talent that is in this cast, and like the way the excuse me, wow, the way that we all get along, and like exactly like you said, and like Chanel said in the episode, well, last episode, the splitting pubes. So like I'm so happy to be a part of this cast, and I couldn't have gone in a better way, to be honest, because it was just a really good showing. Like I didn't do badly. It could have been worse. I could have actually like really thought the challenge and then got sent packing, but then I didn't. I think I did really well, and then it was just a case of picking hairs.
So I was going to bring this up later in the episode, but you've just reminded me of something. When we did our pre-season interview, like a week or two before the first episode came out, I remember you saying that you are like a Drag Race super fan and used to watch like all of the exit interviews and just loved it as a viewer. And in this week's episode, we saw RuPaul give you a very rare level of like appreciation that most people don't get.
Yeah.
Someone that's not only just a drag performer, but also a massive fan of this show. What was that moment like for you?
I mean, I think you could see it in like on the runway. I was honestly speechless. Like because exactly like you said, like Drag Race has been such a dream. I've been like such a stan of Drag Race and like just everything to do with drag. So to get that from RuPaul when I actually really was not expecting it. And they must mean it if they said it to me in that bloody Diana look and wig. Because I look like a right bastard. So like to be able to hear that from them was just incredible. And then watching it back again, I was just like, just as mind blown. I was like, how is this happened? How?
So can I? This is like I wasn't sure if I was going to ask this, but I feel like I need to. With that feedback in mind, were you kind of gagged when she was like sashay away?
Honestly, no. Like, I was kind of like, I don't know. I knew I was going to be in the bottom because, like, fair enough, and the critiques on, yes, like, I will happily say my look was not up to par compared to everyone else's. But, like, I don't know. I wasn't shocked, but I was shocked she said it. But I wasn't shocked about like being eliminated because it's just the way the cookie crumbles. But like, obviously, I would have loved for her to be like, "You both stay," but I wasn't like, I can't be pressed because like she just told me she loved me for God's sakes.
This week really did feel like it was anyone's game to win or to
Yeah,
lose. What do you think was the deciding factor that put you into the bottom?
I think. Well, my critiques were, of course, like I gave too much Jerry, too much Jerry. No, not enough Jerry. I gave too much energy for Jerry, which is like more than fair enough, totally valid. And like I didn't really understand the references when like Michelle was trying to explain them to me in the run through of the singing, just because I simply just didn't grow up with those references.
Yeah.
But but I think like the looks probably like my look in particular. Yes, the wig was cheap, and it wasn't like the best. And the dress was like a carbon copy of the look, but it just wasn't dragged up for Drag Race, which again, totally valid, totally understandable. So I think, yeah, for me anyway, for me getting to the bottom, I would say just like the Jerryisms and just like the details of my look.
Well, you said on Twitter, I saw this morning that you wanted to deliver like a bastard drag version of Diana, which felt very, you know why she black, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No, literally. I was saying, so I said that in confessionals. I was like, what are you serving today, Actavia? And I was like, I'm giving you bastard. And they were like, you can't say that. I was like, oh. But no, whenever I hear the word bastard drag, I think of Why She Black. She's the pioneer of bastard drag.
The pioneer of bastard drag. I love that. I can't. Was there like a deliberate thing for you to pick doing it that way, basically? Because we always see Diana, I think LeVar said it on the episode, but we always see Diana so polished and so
Yeah.
regal, not really regal, I guess, but more just like, you know, polished, polished, polished. Was that something you consciously were like, I want to take it into this other end, or did it just kind of end up like that and you're like, well, we're here?
No, so when we got the list of the runways, like I was like, oh, camp, new romantics, lovely. Everything was like I could work with. Then I seen the Diana and I was like, right, this is so like far beyond my drag aesthetic. Like I just don't do that type of thing. So I was like, right. So to be honest, I would honestly say Diana was the least like thought about. I'd seen a picture and I was like, right, make this dress.
Yeah.
I'll get the wig. Yeah. And I do kind of regret that, but I also don't because honestly, looking at me, like it's camp. I look like a fucking tit. So like I'm not gonna complain because honestly, I'm glad I'm the type of person that can laugh at myself because like it's just not that serious and I just look like a twat. But like, because even if I would to like have this grand look, I still would have looked like a bastard just in a nicer look.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, again, we're jumping around the order of the episode here, but we just have to dive straight into it.
of
The
course.
lip sync, we had two Dianas going against each other in one of the craziest songs we've really ever seen on the show. Um, Firstly, well, the people doing the videography on that one really ate with the when you were doing the routine and like
Oh yeah.
the pan coming in. Firstly, are you proud of that lip sync? Because I think it's one of the best we've ever seen in the UK franchise.
Oh my God. Thank you. Yeah, no, I was nervous to watch it because like I would never choose to do the time warp in like my numbers like at a show I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like nervous of like looking like I'm doing too much. But like watching it back, I was like, no, like I think both me and Lil like really did a good lip sync like together. And like it could have gone either way, it could have been a double save. So like I was really happy with it. Like I was like, oh
Yeah.
okay, I did well.
Well, speaking of double save, as I'm sure you've seen on social media, there are a lot of people, predominantly I'm seeing people calling for it should have been a top two lip sync as opposed to bottom two because
Yeah.
everyone did. But there are also a lot of people saying it should have been a double save because the lip sync was so amazing. Thoughts?
I mean, I would have, of course, loved for me and Lil to both be saved, but also it was my third time in the bottom. Yes, my second time lip syncing, but I was in the bottom with Kiki. So, like, it's fair enough. I mean, like, they had to send someone home because we've already had, like, well, two non-elimination episodes, but obviously that included Saki's. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. So, like, obviously, I would have loved to stay, but Lil was doing better than I was in the competition, and she also killed the lip sync. So, like, it's totally valid that I was sent home.
Very fair, Diva. So look, let's discuss the challenge a little bit. And as I say, I'm really going back and forth on what happened when, but we'll go to the challenge now because why not? You kind of mentioned already that you weren't maybe as familiar with some of the Jerry mannerisms, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
However, we did see you go quite hard to get that role. What made you decide that that was the one for you if you kind of weren't as familiar with Jerry?
So basically, when we were given a list of the characters, the one that I wanted was George Michael. But because Kyron and Lavoie were the ones picking the roles, Kyron had already said she wanted that. So I was like, well, that's not gonna be me. So
Yeah.
Jerry was my second option, only because listening to the track, as you've now heard, it was very high energy,
Yeah.
and I could hear like the beats, and I was like, okay, whatever choreo I'm gonna get for this is gonna be a lot of choreography, which is what I'm good at. So I was like, that's why I was fighting for the role because Jerry was my second option, as my first was already taken.
You sure? That makes sense. And it sounds like then you were kind of hoping that they would focus more on your actual performance in terms of dance
Yeah,
stuff versus delivering Jerry.
yeah.
Got you. That makes sense, though. I hear that. That
And
makes
also, in the description that was read out as well on in the episode, but on the paper, it said basic level singing. Like I wasn't gonna go for Shirley Bassey because I cannot sing. So
Sure.
I was like, I'm gonna go for basic level singing because I'm not gonna embarrass myself that much.
Besides then George, now that you've actually watched the episode back and lived it, is there another character that you kind of think, oh, I probably should have gone for that?
Um, I would say I really enjoyed Elton's, but again, I don't think I could have done it better than Marmalade, to be honest, because like it was a bit more singy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I would love to do Elton's. It's like seemed really fun, and I think I could do well, but I don't think I would have like smashed it out of the park like Marmalade did.
So something during the actual performance on stage, which was maybe one of my favorite moments of the episode, was your Spanish rap.
Yeah,
That was like one of the most unhinged things I think we've seen on Drag Race UK. Like I just didn't, as I was watching it, I was like, what am I watching in the best way possible? How much of
honestly.
that was like improv? Was that script? Like, what was the process behind that basically?
So it was all like in like it was all written for us, but then yeah, and it was all choreoed for us. But I think I just like I don't remember the I don't remember if that was like in it. I think it was, but yeah, it was all given to us. But I was just like, this is so stupid, like so camp. So like, and me just like being the I am, my adrenaline just well took over me, and I was just like, where is La Biblioteca? Like I was just going crazy for it. I was going crazy.
Well, this is why I asked. It felt very much like an Actavia performance. Like you could have
Yeah,
told me you'd written and choreoed that yourself, and I wouldn't have questioned it.
yeah,
Let's talk a little bit more about the season in general. Firstly, I want to start with your Snatch game because
yes,
doing characters like the dragon that you did can be really, really risky. And we've
yeah,
seen you go home for doing sort of these more, I guess you'd call them more niche things because you're doing a
yeah.
character, but it's not one that has a set personality, right? What was your decision process behind that? And did you know you were taking quite a big risk?
So my thought process behind that. So basically, my other option was, Rachel Lester from X Factor.
Around this house and everything. Is that her?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So that was my second option, but I was like, that can be a bit more one note because there'd
Yes.
be more pressure there because it's a person, it's an actual person, and also all we know from Rachel really is that she's like very monotone, and I just don't know. That's not very my personality. So I thought going with a dragon, I could just do, I know whatever I wanted, but and
Yeah.
then thankfully Rue gave me that idea of like working the Michael Jackson into it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to run with that because if that makes you laugh, that's the job I need to do. So I just did it. So I didn't necessarily think I was going for like that big of a risk.
Yeah.
I think I would have personally been doing more of a risk if I went for like a set personality, like a real person. For that moment, anyway.
No, I totally understand that. And I think what you said about Rachel, as much as on the surface it seems like such an iconic idea,
Yeah.
really, when you think about it, the only line you know from her, personally at least, is that one I just said. And so once you
Yeah.
get that out the way, you're probably going to be
It's
sat
like,
there like,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah. What was your favorite challenge of the season?
What's my favorite challenge? hmm. I would say the girl group, just because like I knew what I was doing, I was confident in what I was doing, and I think I performed it well. But funny enough, I think the best one to work on was the sewing challenge. Even though I did terribly in it, I really enjoyed like working with Kyron and Zahara. So I
Yeah.
think like I had fun with them doing it. Like even though I knew I was bombing, but also I wasn't like going in there thinking, yeah, I'm gonna give them fucking fashion.
Yeah.
Like I knew I was gonna bomb. So I was just like, "Do you know what? Enjoy the process, see what happens."
Yeah, I feel like as a viewer that really came across though, because I think you will always be given challenges that aren't either in your wheelhouse or it's just something you don't really enjoy, like maybe the Diana theme, for example, this week.
Yeah.
But I feel like every week from you, we've really seen your flair come through. And I personally think that's a big reason you got that feedback from Rue is because
Thank
she
you.
probably recognized that. That's just me as a viewer. I wasn't there, but
Yeah.
that's just how I sort of been perceiving it. Um, what was your favorite runway? I'm assuming it wasn't Diana.
No. My favorite runway of mine would have been the headpiece one.
Mm,
Yeah, the headpiece. I don't know. Like as soon as we got headpiece, I knew the headpiece was like needed to be the vocal point of it. But funny enough, it wasn't because the dress was like so big. But regardless of that, I just think it was like my best look. Like I do stand by like most of my looks, but
Mm.
that one was just like fashion. I'm really glad that like I had a lot of love for that one as well. So I would definitely say my headpiece one.
So there's some looks we're not going to see on the show, sadly, from you in the coming episodes. How would you describe the ones we haven't seen yet?
Oh, well, I would say. Oh, so yeah, of course I can say. So yeah, there's obviously of course the makeover challenge next week, as you can see in the trailer. Next week would have been a bit more different for me. It would have been a bit more glamorous, a bit more, because at the
Yeah.
moment I think I've been saving a lot of like the different colored faces and the like the androgynous look. But next week might have been a bit more glamorous, and then yeah, a bit more glamour, a bit more sex, maybe. But you'll have to wait and see, and just follow me on Instagram because I will be posting them there as well.
Well, now you've got the Instagram back, girl, because I saw the whole Instagram gate of the bot taking over.
Girl, girl, that happened right the night. It literally just turned midnight, so like practically Thursday, the day me and Kiki lip synced, and I was like, "This cannot be happening to me right now. Like it cannot." And especially with the headpiece runway, that was my favorite look. I was like, "No, that was the worst, most depressing 3 days I've ever had in my entire life. Horrible. Never want that to happen again. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, except Marmalade."
Yeah, well, Marmalade has it coming, let's be honest.
Ah,
I'm only kidding, but and then what would be your dream lip sync song if you got to pick one?
ooh, I would say my dream lip sync song. I don't feel like everyone will know this. It depends how much of a Doja Cat stan you are. But I would say Ouchies by Doja Cat.
I've never heard that, but I'm going to take your word that that's the one.
It's on her most recent album, Scarlet. It's just like very my vibe. It's very like hip hop, has loads of beats I can hit. And yeah, I just think if I was to do that, no one would stand a chance, to be honest.
I would like to see it. Well, we saw this season as well. I think this season has a really big sisterhood, and a lot of people who really love each other. It doesn't seem like there's really anyone that has conflict that they can't, get over very quickly.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you to find this group of people on a show like this, where often it's very competitive? Well, it's still competitive, but often
Yeah.
people don't, find that.
I think like with this cast in general, like I knew of mainly like, mostly everyone before like being casted with them. So then to be able to like get to know them as people, obviously in during filming, you get closer to specific people just because that's just the way it works. Like I was really close to Mam there. I was still really close to Mam, like Kyra and Tahira. And I was like kind of friends with Tara, but like now, after the show, Tara's literally like one of my best friends. Like we
Mm.
see each other like every other day. So it's like with this cast, I think it's good because we all have a similar mindset in the sense of like it's TV, we're making it great TV, and any issues we have, I feel like we're all very forward. Like if someone like sees something they don't like in the episode, which most of us don't because we understand it's TV, we'll just message each other and then we'll have a conversation that's done. So I
Right.
think this cast is just like we've just bonded all really well.
Last question is what's next for Actavia now that Drag Race UK is done?
So, Drag for the Child is, of course, touring in March. So come and get your tickets. Come and see us perform. I do have a song coming out with a fellow season 6 sister, which will be very soon. And yeah, honestly, just I'm happy to do anything. I'm waiting on a pot noodle ad. I'm waiting on a Actimel ad or any yogurt by that case. I'll be at DragCon. Hopefully, I'll be at DragCon LA. Honestly, I just want to be performing, popping my puss, and breaking my body every day.
I hope you are at DragCon LA because it's very nice here.
Oh yeah, I can see the background. It looks lovely. And what I will say as well is I've been doing music videos for like some of the lip syncs, but I'm still planning on doing some of them like after the show. I think I've been having so much fun doing like dance videos and things
Yeah.
like that. And just to promote, I did post a Jerry one last night. I worked very hard on. So if you're watching, go see it on my Insta, Actavia X.
Well, look, at least it's not a bot now. So, as we've said,
Exactly, exactly. I'm not going to try sell you Bitcoin, I promise.
Well, listen, we're very sorry to see you go, and I can't wait to see what you do next. And it's been an amazing season. I hope you feel very proud of yourself because it has been such
Thank
a
you.
run. So